Even an average pickup truck today is pushing past the $50,000 mark. A truck can be strong, good-looking, and still end up being the wrong choice. In 2026, the real risk isn't power or performance, it's ownership friction, the kind that begins quietly, a dashboard warning, a software loop, a sensor acting up, and slowly escalates into delayed parts, dealership backlogs, and worries about resale value. Buyers are often told to expect quirks, but those quirks become costly when the truck is your livelihood, your daily commute, and your time. Tonight we're cutting through the hype by looking at 9 pickups you may want to avoid this year, and 2 that actually deserve your money. Tesla Cybertruck. The first wave of any new truck acts like a reflection. It shows what the manufacturer focused on, what corners were cut, and what still needs refinement once real owners start putting on real miles. When the emphasis is bold design and attention-grabbing presence, refinement often takes a back seat. Panel fit, long-term durability, and how well things hold up over time. Once the Cybertruck stops being a spectacle and starts being a daily vehicle, it carries a mixed reputation before it has earned a long track record. That alone should give buyers pause, not because it can't eventually be excellent, but because early ownership is where the unknowns live. The warning signs arrived quickly. Multiple safety recalls surfaced early in its public life, including one involving the accelerator pedal, and others tied to hardware that should have been resolved from day one. When those problems appear so early, it suggests a vehicle still maturing in real time. The bigger concern isn't any single repair, it's the collection of unconventional decisions, materials, manufacturing processes, and control systems that remain uncommon in mainstream service environments. In practice, that can turn ordinary repairs into specialized jobs. Parts that are simple on a traditional truck can be complicated here. With demand high and production still ramping up, minor issues can turn into long waits, leaving owners caught between mobile service schedules and parts availability. For some buyers, that's acceptable. They want the statement, the experience, the moment. But if you're buying a pickup to be reliably boring, starting every morning, hauling without surprises, and working daily at a job site, this is a truck better sampled out of curiosity than financed for dependability. In 2026, the concern isn't that it's bad. The concern is that it's still evolving, and buyers are paying premium prices to participate in that evolution. Some trucks are risky because they're experimental. Others are risky because strong ideas are housed inside an immature ownership ecosystem. Rivian R1T. There's a unique frustration that comes from enjoying how something drives while worrying about what it might do next. That tension defines this premium electric pickup. It's capable, engaging, and thoughtfully engineered, yet it continues to show growing pains that many traditional truck buyers aren't accustomed to managing. On the road, it feels confident and well-developed, but ownership goes far beyond the test drive. It's the accumulation of small moments, a warning that disappears, a sensor that keeps returning, a software update that fixes one issue while introducing another. Over the past few years, recall activity and reliability discussions have kept uncertainty in the spotlight. Issues tied to lighting in cold weather and driver assistance software may not always leave you stranded, but they chip away at confidence. Then there's service access. Even with strong warranty coverage, Rivian's service network doesn't yet match the reach of long-established manufacturers. That matters when your truck dictates your schedule. Living near a service center can make ownership manageable. Living far from one can turn routine problems into logistical challenges. So, pickup buyers, well, they expect a broad support net, independent shops, parts that are easy to find, and technicians who, have probably already seen the issue before. That system is definitely getting better, but honestly, it's not universal just yet. In 2026, the R1T can really make sense for a certain kind of buyer, someone who's patient, tech-savvy, and well, lives close to support. But for folks who want totally predictable maintenance, minimal downtime, and a stable resale value, it's still a calculated risk. Not because the truck isn't capable, but because the ownership infrastructure just hasn't fully caught up to the promise of the product. So, as the conversation shifts from those niche buyers to, mass adoption, expectations really start to change. Millions of folks go out and purchase trucks, kind of assuming they'll get that set-it-and-forget-it experience. But when that just doesn't happen, even a handful of electronic quirks can, snowball into widespread complaints and those long dealership wait times. Chevrolet Colorado. Redesigns, they often feel exciting at first, until, time reveals what new really brings. A mid-size pickup might look totally dialed in with sharp styling, a modern interior, and some solid torque, while quietly hiding software and electrical issues that, honestly, only show up after months of real-world use. The Colorado has landed squarely in that situation. On paper and behind the wheel, it's competitive and often impressive, but owner feedback consistently points to the same frustrations: inconsistent electronics and infotainment behavior, over-the-air update troubles, battery drain concerns, and unexpected shutdowns. Even when fixes exist, the real issue is how often owners have to think about them. A truck shouldn't feel like it's negotiating with you. There's also the challenge of a new platform. When manufacturers introduce fresh architectures packed with screens, connectivity, and integrated systems, tolerance for small glitches shrinks. The more systems rely on software, the more a minor issue can feel significant. Owners who just want a straightforward daily truck end up learning menus, resets, and update schedules. That's really not what most people expect from a mid-size pickup in 2026. The biggest risk isn't actually a catastrophic failure, it's the gradual loss of trust. The moment you hesitate before a long drive because you're unsure whether the screen will cooperate, the simplicity that defines this segment is already gone. If you find a proven, trouble-free example, great, but for buyers prioritizing stress-free ownership, caution here isn't negativity, it's just common sense. So, Colorado problems appear at a mainstream price point. The next truck wraps the same core in a more expensive package. Extra trim, it rarely fixes software instability for buyers seeking peace of mind. By now, many shoppers are already second-guessing their choices. Which truck on this list would you still consider? And which one would you walk away from immediately? GMC Canyon. A more upscale sibling can feel like the safer bet. The materials look better, the cabin feels richer, and the price suggests extra attention to detail. But when two trucks share the same platform, software, and update systems, the differences can be mostly cosmetic while the underlying risks remain the same. The Canyon often feels like the premium option in the midsize segment and can be appealing for buyers who want comfort without stepping up to full size. However, many reported issues mirror those of its platform mate: infotainment instability, odd electronic behavior, and intermittent problems that are honestly pretty difficult for dealerships to diagnose. Those are the most frustrating issues to own because they turn drivers into storytellers explaining problems instead of simply driving. It only happens sometimes where long ownership battles begin. Cost adds another layer. A premium mid-size truck asks buyers to pay more for a smoother experience, but when that experience includes the same glitches, resets, and update delays, the premium becomes, honestly, hard to justify. That's where regret sets in. Buyers don't resent a truck for being imperfect. They resent it when the flaws don't align with the price. In 2026, this is a truck to avoid if your top priority is predictability and low stress, not because it can't be good, but because its electronic friction suggests the premium badge doesn't shield buyers from the realities of the platform. Mid-size problems are annoying. Full-size problems are costly, because as trucks get larger, so do repair bills and downtime. Chevrolet Silverado 1500, a full-size pickup today is more than just transportation. It's a financial commitment, a family solution, and for many folks, a work tool. That's why issues feel heavier here. A glitch in a mid-size truck is, an annoyance. But a recurring problem in a full-size truck becomes a calculation of lost time and productivity. The Silverado is popular for a reason. It offers strong configurations, serious capability, and a familiarity that honestly makes it feel like the default option. The concerns aren't about towing or hauling, they're about layers of complexity, especially where certain engine choices intersect with modern electronics. In recent years, discussions have included reliability concerns tied to specific V8 applications and large-scale recalls that highlight just how high the stakes are. When issues escalate into major recalls, it signals they aren't isolated. Even if your truck isn't affected, the environment changes, resale value becomes, sensitive to engine codes and build specs. Buyers start to ask more questions. Dealers, they guide conversations carefully. Owners begin to wonder if they actually chose the right configuration. That mental burden matters, because it's the opposite of what buying a mainstream truck should feel like. In 2026, the Silverado 1500 isn't an automatic rejection, but it really demands precision. You have to be deliberate about your engine choice, the build year, and honestly, the recall status. The difference between a smooth ownership experience and a frustrating one can really come down to the exact specifications. Most buyers don't want to shop for a truck like they're disarming a bomb. When platforms are shared across brands, problems don't stay isolated. They quietly spread through common parts, suppliers, and,